Hi, this is Chris Hawkins, and you're listening to the Liverpool Connection podcast.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Liverpool Connection podcast. I am your host, Daz, and this is finally my 4-year anniversary podcast. And I couldn't ask for two better gents to come on and have a good chat with me. One of them's already been on about a year ago, and I had a fantastic conversation with him. One is Eddie Lundon from China Crisis, which everyone will know about. My next one is former Liverpool captain and England international Mark Wright. So I am so happy you. Thank goodness that Kim got you two sorted finally to be in the same room to have a chat with me. So welcome to the podcast, fellas. Like I said, I couldn't ask for a better 4-year anniversary guest. I mean, I don't get one, I get two. So even better.
I'll let Mark do all he's the boss on football. I'll take care of the music side.
Well, I'm gonna start with you, Mark. You've had a decent career in football. But I even liked how you kind of started professional football a little bit late because you wanted to be a PE teacher.
Well, yeah, what it wasn't particularly out of choice. I've got to be honest. As what it was, I mean, I played for the county sides, and I was, winning lots of trophies, and 5-a-side, 6-a-side, 11-a-side. Playing for the best sides, and then we had a school side as well that got to the semi-final of All England, peer school, and we got beat by a team in Plymouth, which is still one of the most funny. This it hurts you more than anything. Hurts me more than anything because we know that we should have won that competition. That year we get beat 1-0 on a replay down in Plymouth, and it still wrangles to this day. But
the sportsman in you,
yeah, because you achieve so many other things, I suppose, and then all of a sudden maybe some of the ones that get away. But it hurts. Sometimes it makes alongside losing in the semi-final of the World Cup. It actually does, and that is really strange. But I wanted to be a footballer. My dad was always away working. My mother took me everywhere. Had it been for my mother, I wouldn't have got into football. I don't think I'd have been a little rogue. I mean, well, not a little 6'2" rogue, I suppose. But I wanted to be football. Didn't have a trial at any one club. And Oxford United, Fred Ford, God rest his soul, was the chief scout. He wanted me at Oxford United, and the club decided on two lads from Newcastle, two Georges. And one weekend they were both injured for this Euro sporting competition in Tame in Oxford. And Fred said, "This is your chance, get in it, you're playing." And I went, "Okay, great. Yeah, maybe any football we could play 3 and 4 times a week, maybe more." And you're still not tired. That's why I disagree with the people. They say, "Oh, the backlog of fixtures is too hard." Really, get your big boy pants on and whoever they can get on with it. That's where I am. And we won the competition. The manager came up to me afterwards and said, "Listen, I need to see you and your parents." And I said, "Well, your dad's away working." But my mum, "What for?" He went, "Well, just come in Monday and then we can have a chat." He came, we went in, we sat down. He said, "I want you to sign for Oxford United." Well, me mum, she choked in her eyes. That's all she ever wanted was for me to be in football, because that's what I love. Always out playing, kicking the ball against the wall, Yardy, you kick it, the far after it comes back. And that taught you touch and control and everything. Like, you don't need to be in a team. You don't need to be coached. You can coach yourself. And he offered me, I think it was £20 a week and 25 to my mum. And I went, "Doesn't matter, yeah, I'm in." So it was that. But I'd stayed and got my exams, and I was going to go to
you were 17, and
I was 17, yeah, and I got A levels, and then I was going to go to Loughborough, and to be a PE teacher, and it was all set. Even the coach of the school team, Piers, was really pushing me to do that. He didn't think that I was gonna make it. And my mum told him off and like, "Yes, he will." And then when I eventually got into Oxford United, there was a coach called Roy Barry, a Scottish lad that played for Coventry. he said, how much do you want it? And I went, massive. And he went, you want to train every afternoon? I went, yeah. Never went home. Never went home early. The day off, I'm in. I'm either doing weights or I'm doing fitness, but every afternoon we were going out doing defensive work and whatever it may be. And once you get a chance, you can't let it go. And I think there's a lot of players these days who have got so much ability, but they become lost in themselves, thinking, well, money's going to come, glory's going to come. That's when, nothing comes easy. And I was one of those born with, and bred on a council estate, tough upbringing by my dad, fighting just like you would have in any council estate. And I think that stood me in real good stead. So did I want to go to university? No, I think it would have been a pretty decent life and you'd have had fun and whatnot. But football was what I really wanted. And there was nothing, when I was given a chance, nothing stopped me. Even then, after no time at all, obviously I go down to Southampton, trained every afternoon still. Did not want to let it go.
I think mums are the best thing in the world.
Oh.
I kind of did the same. My dad used to work construction engineer in Iraq and Iran. So he was gone 9 months out the year. So my mum played the dad part as well,
Yeah.
and took me to the games and made sure like I got back all right. Yeah, they're just solid as a rock, aren't they?
Oh, she took me. She honestly did everything. And I remember one, and it's very vivid in my mind. And I was just down with my mum at the weekend, and there was one incident. And I remember having gone out, and girls run there, drinks just coming into it at that age, and I was supposed to be playing a game, and I was laying in bed. And she came and said, "Come on, then we're up for the game," because she took me everywhere. And I went, "Oh, not today." I had a glass of orange juice thrown straight over me. She went, "Don't you dare let anybody down. Get yourself up." I said, "I'm up, Mum. I'm up." I jumped to attention and gone on, and off we went to football.
Absolutely.
But that was the one and only ever time that I ever said that to my mother.
Yeah, she was no to your mum.
No.
Oh no, they give you the eyes.
Don't they?
Like my mum just used to just stare. And she didn't used to say too much. She just gave me that look, and then it's like,
Yeah.
I better do what she wants.
Isn't it just? Yes. But no, great time. Great times growing up as a kid for football and early days in football. I mean, what more do you want? What more does anybody want as a footballer or a musician? To do something that they love, see the world, and get paid for it.
Yeah.
Really? And in football, they actually keep you in tip-top shape. So
Yeah,
I mean, everything
course,
put on a
yeah.
plate. So the bottom line of it is, you go, really? How can anybody look around and go, this is hard?
Oh no,
It
it's
ain't
an absolute dream. I mean, both our professors are so lucky to do what we chose. It's like getting paid for a hobby.
It's great. It is, yeah.
Well, do you remember the I forgot what his name was, but he played for Spurs. He was a defender, and he basically fell out of love with the game, and
How long ago was this?
maybe 10 years ago. God, I forgot what his name is. Is a black kid. But yeah, he just fell out of love with the game, and he was like, I take this as a job. And I was like, that really, even though I'm not a professional footballer, it really hit me. I was like, how can you fall out of love with the game?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe even 10 years ago, I mean, the money that they get, okay, he's probably set himself up for life anyway and got, I don't do that anymore. But really, I mean, what a silly fella. What a silly fella. Because at the end of the day, you must have been just taking it for granted. Listen, I'm playing everything, give me my money, and then I'm off and gone. No, that's not a way to be a footballer. You do it properly.
Well, it's like Pogba for me. Like, he's a fantastic footballer, but obviously he hung around with the wrong people. And I think the move to Man United was just ruined his career. But it was more like what kind of hairstyle he's going to have next. It was, the football was on the back burner, towards the end. And I just think, what role model is that for a you know,
I mean,
12-year-old
a few
kid.
players like that as well, though. When he comes to Liverpool as well, and his brother was his agent, and he had a great French player, I think he was. And his brother was his agent. I mean, he just signed for every club. It was like a money spinner for the agents or whatever. So he never really got,
was that we play at
yeah,
Arsenal
he
as well?
plays at Arsenal, plays at Liverpool, plays at
Yeah, I've watched his name.
same.
Yeah, well.
Great players as well. Fantastic.
Do you know, like Pogba winds me through the roof. I can't stand anybody, and I'm talking about anybody that thinks they're the bee's knees and thinks they're better than anybody else, because no one's better than anybody else. Just means you've been given a gift to go and do it, or do it properly. And the people in football, and I suppose in movie as well, the givens are you're committed, you do everything you can to succeed, you try your hardest at all times.
Absolutely.
You know, and make sure that when you've come off either off stage or off the football field, you've left nothing behind and you've given it your best.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't do that.
And
So people
also,
like him really, really
but also
annoy
what
me.
you have to remember in both our occupations, about 99.9% of people fail. Not everyone's a pop star. Not everyone's a footballer. They get kicked out the academy when they're young, if they're lucky to get in the academy in the first place. And to make it to a professional player, the commitment is insane. And it's the same with like musicians and songwriters. 99% of them are not going to make it. You know, there's a billion YouTubers on every day. How many of them succeeds? You know, it's mad. You know, so to be given that, you know, you're lucky if you're given that chance and you do succeed. And as Mark says, I totally agree. Just do your best. Just don't give up. You know, get your and I'm from a council estate the same. We had to scratch our way out. You know, we had to work really hard, both of us, you know, to achieve what we achieved. We never got given to us.
No, I remember my mother and father having an argument, Eddie, one morning, and Dad goes, "You're wasting money. That's too much money in petrol and everything. Going here, there, and everything. Council estate and everything. I'm working hard, and then come back. You're from the petrol because you're going up to Woodstock and taking there and there and back. And they're taking the cheat. And my mum, and you never see my mum cross. Unless it,
She was
I'm
right.
taking him, and that's it. There's going to be no discussion about this." And it was like, I was like, "Well, I better stay.
Yeah.
I better stay out of this one."
Well,
But that was it.
your father, because my dad was, you know, sounds a lot like Mark's as well. And my dad, well, it was like, you know, going to an apprenticeship like your brothers, you know, going, my dad was a doctor. So, and my brothers were electricians and sheet metal workers and that kind of thing. So it was going to a proper job like them. You know, like what I said before, that's your hobby. That's your hobby. You're never going to succeed in that. The chances of succeeding are zero. So get yourself a proper job and just have that as a hobby. But you know, when I did actually, when I left school, I became an apprentice diesel fitter for Volvo, right? I never even did a year because I ended up getting a record team and everything and then leaving. But I used to have to leave the house the same time as my dad in the morning, right? And he'd be on one side of the road getting the bus that way. And I'd be on the other side of the road getting the bus the other way into Kirby, right? And I left my job 2 weeks, right? And I couldn't tell him, right? So I'd still come out the house, wait till he got on the bus and, yeah, later, Dad, and then run back to the house. Start, you know, it took me 2 weeks to tell him because I never had the guts to tell him that I'd left my job.
Well, you didn't know my dad's a Scouser. All my uncles, aunts, and cousins are all Scousers.
Are they? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
all of them. The whole lot. I mean, there's so many. My dad was one of, I think, was one of 13.
Yeah.
And then
Big
so we've got so
cousins.
many cousins, all around us. I've only got one. My Uncle Jack, who's a blue nose. And if there's a family get together, I go, "Uncle Jack, nice to see it." Not you again. With a swear word in either side of that.
I bet you he's happy in the past couple of weeks.
Oh yes, he's more than that.
Yeah, I've got two cousins that are blue noses, and literally, like when I go home, I barely speak to them. You know, Because I mean,
they're sick.
Evertonians, they like to, even though they haven't won a trophy since '95, they still like to have a lot of gob on them, you know. But yeah, I'm glad I'm not home right now to have to listen to that crap.
Tell you what, though, Taz, they have built just up the road from me. They built the most amazing stadium.
Yeah, well, I was hoping that was going to be the best stadium in the championship, but that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen, mate.
Hey, well, they still have to pay for it though, so you never know what's going to happen still. But yeah, and I mean, talking about like young footballers, I mean, Mar, for you, back in the day, you said doing a PE teacher. I think, especially today now, I mean, again, a few years ago, we had, the news of that young Man City lad who committed suicide because they basically told him he wasn't wanted anymore. Now, how was it for you? Because obviously, you moved up in the ranks. Did you see any of that? Because I think a lot of young lads, it's 100% football, or that's it. They've got no other avenue.
Do you know what? And I'm not saying it's everybody, but I think we as parents, the way we guide our children is a big part of it as well. And when you go to a Liverpool, go to a Man City, or go to Man United, I think we as parents should turn around and say, if you've got choices of all these maybe lesser clubs, and you get a Man United, Liverpool, and Man City, how many of them kids actually come through and make it into that first team?
Yeah.
And you have to tell them that the stats are very, very small of anyone coming through. And I think from day one, they've got to say, listen, you've got to give your whole, everything you've got in your body, you've got to give and sell yourself to that and sell yourself to the football club. And that's to do with the way you look after yourself, the way you train, the way you think about things, the way you conduct yourself. All them things come into play about them with all them big clubs. But you need to tell them kids from day one, this may not happen, but keep fighting because you'll get a career in football, but it may not happen here. But at this moment in time, you're one of the ones that we've taken in. Now, I'm not so sure. I don't know if that is said or not. It doesn't seem like it's said. And I think sometimes the parents, us as parents, should make them more aware of what life is. Because I think the generations, we're streetwise. We'll stand there if there's 5 people, and if it's done something wrong and it's a straight day, then you stand your ground. You can't these days because of knives or whatever, and the way that a lot of the youth today are I suppose, are mollycoddled really. Because when we were apprentices, I had to look after 3 players: Big Joe Cook, Malcolm Shott, and Gary Briggs. Thugs. Now, if I didn't put their kit right and get them cut to when they wanted, bang, you'll catch one. You have to make them a cup of tea. You have to go and do that. Kids of today not allowed to make cups of tea because it's degrading. They said that's not in their requisite as a footballer. Well, listen, it stood us all in great stead, and it made us appreciate them getting that on the path and striving to be one of those first teamers. Yeah. And I think it's very sad when you see a young kid take his life, or you see the way that some of them are. Well, what I'm trying to say is we were tough, mentally tough. The kids of today are so looked after in cotton wool, wrapped in cotton wool, they can't accept the bits and pieces that are going on around us. Because we would, if someone said to me, it was like, wherever, if someone told me, you can't do that, I'd go, really? Prove you wrong. And I'll be after them. And I'll make sure these days go, oh dear. Oh,
and then they can't take the pressure because they can't take rejection.
Correct. Well, see, when you're left out, rejection and being told the truth, to us, people like ourselves, what can I understand? I'm not saying a lot of the kids aren't. There must be those that can. But when you get a rejection, when you get kicked and you're told you're not good enough, that made us go, yeah, and we're after it. Or if you haven't played a good game, I said, well, make sure next time, find a way. See me next week. It won't happen. Well, if every kid is like that, then fantastic. I don't see it that way at present. And I think that's in most things. They're given this, they're given that, they're given the other, and they can't go to school unless they've got designer things on, and you go, really? Really? You're growing. What's wrong? What's wrong with H&M? Or there's not. But I think there's that mentality, Eddie, that goes around at this moment in time, and the kids as well. They all get there. Therapists. They get that wrapped in the big clubs now, don't they? They have their own psychologists and everything. But once again, maybe maybe I'm talking so I see it different ways. But I look at it and I go, okay, so if you go to see your psychologist and you say, and he goes, well, he didn't play well at the weekend, did you? And he said, everything all right at home. Well, there was this problem, that one. You've given them an excuse. We just got kicked up the backside and said, by the way, you were shocking this week. Make sure it don't happen next. And you did everything you possibly could to make that. Because mentally tough and strong, and you wanted to go after it. These are given an option to get away from it as an excuse. And I don't think that in itself, a lot of places, is a good way. I think that the old school way,
certainly not in competitive sports. You know what I mean?
No.
And by the way, he's not the first kid to do that at City. Because when I was at school, Tommy Caton, do you ever remember a player called Tommy Caton?
I played with him in the 21s, yeah.
Yeah, he took his own life as well. He used to go to City. He went to my school in Derby. Unfortunately, he took his life when he was at City. A long time ago.
Very sad. And I'm not saying all kids are this way. I'm just saying from my perception, when I look at it, you go, really? Wrong with the old school, some of the old school principles, like, hey, by the way, parents keep out of it, kick them up the backside and go, by the way, I'm telling you, you weren't good enough. I'd like to know how many times that is said to the kids in the academies these days. I'd like to know. I'd be surprised if it's a lot.
But I think, like, especially, because I've seen both worlds, being from back home and then over here, it's like, I have a mate who's on the podcast. He does the British Academy of Soccer over here. And it's just like the parents put so much pressure on these kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're screaming at the ref, they're screaming at the other kids. And, the kids got to be... I just think a kid needs to, especially the younger kids, just need to go out and have fun. Once they stop having fun, then that's, it's... And the dads are like, they're kind of seeing that kid through their eyes, going, you've got to make it because I didn't, kind of thing. Or they want these kids to be the next Ronaldo, the next Messi. It's like, let the child, if he's, 7-year-old to 12, let him have fun. Once you hit 12, 13, you start to get in that rhythm of training and, getting, more physical. But I think it's everywhere. They just think like, this kid, my kid's going to make it. My kid's going to make it. And that's all you're saying to your child. You're not being honest with them. You're like, look, just go out, do your best. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it's okay.
Yeah. Because they've got to be there to pick up the pieces. Yeah. But if they're driving them, they're giving them that, oh, listen, son, you're good enough. Even if they've had a bad game, they go, you're good enough, but don't worry about it. He didn't play. Well, he didn't play, but you did all right. Well, no. Home truths are good things. And I do believe that at Liverpool, is that the kids that go in, the parents are not allowed to get involved and shout from the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And that, which is a good thing. Oh yeah, which is a very, very good thing. And I keep saying it won't be all kids. There'll be a lot of those kids that can get on with it. But then they get into an atmosphere of the club, and that psyche is then drilled into them. So, and then they become wrapped in cotton wool. When really you want to keep them as tough street kids, hey, that can take one on the chin, and when they take one, I'm coming back at you. That's what you want. That's what you want. I've seen, and I think that mentality of rolling, and when you get that, and they roll on the floor. Imagine if someone would have if they smacked you and you'd gone down and give you a good right up, and you went down, you bounce back up and you go, you're like that because you're embarrassed to be down there. It's about why is that? Why has it changed from being a good contact sport to people rolling around and feigning injury And if you just touch them like that, they go down holding their face, but you've only touched their arm. Not right in my book. But like I said, I think we are dinosaurs, but I think it's the right way to be in football.
I mean, God, Tommy Smith, tried to them that. You know what I mean? Oh.
Yeah, you never mess with him.
Not play these days.
He would. He gets up for the salt on the pitch. He would.
Well, I mean, you know, you just notice a difference. I mean, you know, I loved the hard tackle. I loved it. You know, now you
the fans loved it as well. Though,
barely tackle.
You know, when someone goes in, someone's defending great, and they go in for a hard tackle. I sit there in the car. You love it.
It's like, go on, do it again.
See, some days at Liverpool, right? And we've said this when we do we go around the lounges, we work at Liverpool and go in there and you're talking. And they're going, what do you need today, right? And you go, okay, you know what you need? What you need? I tell you what I need. I need to see one of our players in the first couple of minutes go and smash someone, or the ball's there and flatten someone, because would that get you all going? They went, well, yeah. And I said, more than this sideways and backwards passing and keeping it and then whatever, not drilling it forward. It would get the fans, it gets your blood up. Even now, it doesn't need to be dirty. It just needs to be full-blooded. But that's the case. Then it becomes good.
Exactly, that's the difference of full-blooded challenge to me. It's not being dirty, it's what sports. You know,
nothing wrong with being dirty every now and again, I can tell you.
I mean, you watched the derby, and I was just watching it going, somebody get stuck in and do something. Like, at least, like, you know, the last 5-6 years, you know, you had James Milner, who would come on straight away and get stuck in. You know, even Fabinho used to kind of do it. Gerrard obviously did it. Carra did it. But just watching that derby was just like, there was no physicality from us, and that's what pissed me off, because I'm just like, I think that's what we need back in this Liverpool team, is a hard man.
Do you know what? I turned it off. I knew that we couldn't get out of it.
I texted you, I think I went, oh no, I can't see us saying this round, you know, this is impossible. It just looked, I agree with you, it just looked like, it was
passive, too passive.
Just, you know,
when you look at it, right? When you look at teams, and say if we're talking about Liverpool, pick Liverpool out. Back in the day, everyone had a voice. Okay, Bruce Bobbart had a voice. I had a voice. Say it was Neil Ruddock had a voice. David Burrows had one, and then you've got John Barnes in the side, McMahon and Whelan in the side, Mulby in the side. You've got Ian Rush that would want to get at you. But there lies a lot of experience and a lot of passion and a lot of captains. Okay, like in the World Kids team we played, Shilton was a captain, Pearce was a captain, Butcher was a captain, I was a captain, Brian Robson was a captain, Gareth Lineker was a captain, Barnes had been captain. There lies where we're falling down. If Virgil's not on his game, and I don't think he's really been on his game for a while. I think he has the odd game where you go, wow, that's him. But if he's not talking, who else does it? Who else drives that team forward? If Jurgen is leaving, and whether he seems to have lost a little bit, I don't know if it's passion, but he looks tired, a tired man, and at times he's not the same as that, jumping and going after people. So if he ain't doing it, and Virgil's not doing it, who's doing it? And I think that's where we're falling apart. Whereas, even if I'm playing bad, and I'm playing against Eddie, you're cheering him up. But to get myself in the game, Eddie's getting it. Bang, come on, rah, rah. That's how it's a derby. It's a derby, and I never saw. I can't remember a tackle. I can't remember. My little nose, albeit a little nose, got busted about 6 or 7 times. Yeah. I've got cuts everywhere. Played on with a broken cheekbone. Yeah. Well, how many have had cuts have we seen this season? You know, and I just want that little bit more. I'm not saying go and get cut all the time, but bang, mean it. If you're defending your goal, you're a defender. You defend your goal. If you're a midfielder, go and get forward. Go and try them forward balls. Get them on your forwards correctly, and that's your job. I feel that it's about playing. in football in general, rather than doing your job properly.
Yeah.
You know, Man City, sadly, for a number of years now, they're the best because the players they have, they do their job. The central halves do their job in a nasty. Carl Walker does his job. No one runs him. The new boy Guardiola, no one runs him. He's got a nasty streak in him. Then the Rodri in midfield.
Yeah, Rodri, brilliant.
He never gives the ball away. He does it. Yeah. So that's what we're getting now. We have lost the title by 1 point on 2 occasions, and really, they broke the rules and they should have been out as such. But this season, we've seemed to have just not quite got to the levels of the heights of where, and I don't know why. I can't tell you why, but all I do know is that is not down to the manager. That's the people who cross the white line. Mm-hmm. When you cross, they can tell us all in the week and the day before and the day of the game what's expected and what we got to do. When you cross the white line, we do expect commitment and passion and endeavour and leave everything on there and come off dripping like you, because we'll all see that. If you come off the pitch and you've given you everything, the Liverpool fan will still clap them and say, "Hey, well done. Not been your day, but bloody well done."
Yeah. Well, remember, Mark, like when you'd come off the pitch, right, and your jersey looks like you just put it on, you'd be ridiculed, you know, because that just shows that you've not put in a shift. Like if your shorts and your socks and your thing are wet through, mud all over it, then you're like, he's had a good game.
Yeah. What do you think?
But that's all I want from this team, and like, you know, people are kind of having a laugh at Klopp, going, "Well, he's on the sideline and he's laughing." Well, you know what? In the inside, he's pissed off because what these lads have not done in the past month, like it heads go down as soon as a goal goes in. You know, it's like, look, you play for Liverpool Football Club, you play for that badge to wear that shirt. You know, I respect all of them, but like, I think even though Hendo and Milner, you know, were at the end of their Liverpool careers, they still had that voice. They still had that voice, you know. And I think we miss those kind of leaders. You said, like, if Virgil's not having a good game, we do have Robbo, and I think Robbo does do it, but we don't have enough. You know, if Virgil's not playing well, if Robbo's not playing well, who else?
Listen, we all have stinkers. We all have bad games. We all have bad days. You can't.
Oh, you did?
Oh, tell you what, great on goals, you know, in my time. But you know what? You can't help it. If you're in the mixer, you're going to score an own goal, and you are going to have an off day. But the one thing that will never ever be criticised in my direction is that I always gave everything that I possibly could. I can say that with my hand on my heart and say, never a day that I didn't give up. I played with so many injuries. I'll tell you one when we played Man United in the 3-3 game. My daughter's in hospital, having big skin grafts, big operations as a baby. I'm down with her for the whole week and trained all week for a week. We're playing Man United. I come back and I've got a groin injury. And my mate picked me up. I'm coming up the motor. He said, "Have you eaten?" I said, "No." He went, "Stopped, got a McDonald's, rematch." Good PR for McDonald's. They need to remember this. Next Tinder as well, McDonald's, on your podcast. But had a McDonald's, went to sleep, get to the ground, go in, the physio says he's not fit. Soon as looked at me, he went, "You fit?" And I went, "Stick a needle in it." And he went, the physio went, "No, not this." And I said, "Well, get the doctor in. You don't have to do that." And got on the street, stuck a needle in it for me to play. Played the first half. I had to have a needle in it at half time to get through the second half, and I had a needle, so I went back to my daughter in that 3-3 game. That's what the commitment, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. Because and you had injections in your ankles, whatever. Get out there and play. If it's just unless it's a torn hamstring when you can't play. By the way, if there's something, we have that. Now there are people now that say, no, you can't do that. That's wrong because of repercussions later in life. Our choices. We wanted to play. I'm not coming and leaving my daughter there and coming up there and then for the physio to say I'm not playing. No, I'm playing. It's Man United. I want to play. Yeah. And everyone knew that. And there was loads of players within Liverpool that did that. And I hope that the Liverpool players of now are all the same way. You can look at personalities, and you said one of them just before, Andy Robertson. You can see what he is. He's a growling, nasty jock, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
And he's up. Like, that is exactly what you need. But that is exactly what you need. And if we're defenders, we have to be nasty. We have to be. No one's getting through, no matter what. And if they're running, don't let them go. Bump, block them. Whoa, you take one for the team and everything. You might get a card. You might get a warning if it's your first one, but block them. Do whatever you got to do to stop it, but they're not getting through. I'm seeing how many times. I think
Too many times now. Yeah.
we've got the worst record of going 1-0
1-0
down,
down,
and
and then coming back. We have by far.
which tells you they're not. That for some reason they're not focused when they first go on, because teams of old, well, they're on the front foot going after the opposition straight away.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of great players at Liverpool, but of late something's missing. But I don't know what that spark is that's missing. Maybe that's something internal that only the players and the management know, but because we certainly don't. But it's certainly something's just fallen away a little bit, and I feel so sorry for Jurgen, because he's been such a special man. And I think exactly I'd love to play for him. So he tells you as it is behind the scenes, but he's your mate. Go on, get out there, and it's all about that. Mm-hmm. And I feel that look what's happened, and that we've just dropped away, and and before that, we're talking Man City. We've battered. They wanted that game to end. How we've not won that game is beyond me. Man United away, we've battered them. How we haven't converted chances is beyond me. Then Crystal Palace, we battered them. God knows. And Jurgen must be going, how is this happening? Now, we have drawn 2 and lost 1. 2 out of 9. Give us them 7 points where we'd have been going into that. You can afford to lose a game because you're still top of the league. So something in the psyche or something has happened in my book. And I don't know. I can't answer that. Why? I don't. I'm sad because it been how good would it been for Jurgen to have gone away with a championship? That would have been brilliant, and he deserved it as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think at the beginning of this season, I've talked about it. If you would have given me top 4 and a trophy, I would have bitten your hand off, especially with a brand new midfield. But then once we started playing and December rolled around, you started, to kind of start believing. And then when Klopp said in January, he's going to leave Liverpool, then I think we started to get in dreaming and the fairy tale ending. But it just seems when we played Man United in the FA Cup, that's where it all fell apart, because we did batter them. And I'm trying to figure out why, with about 10 seconds to go, did we throw everyone up front for that corner? It was mental. And I don't know whether Klopp was just like, let's try and win it now. Because, we're going to go to penalties. And then, obviously, look what happens. And it just seems like we've got, I like Nunes because he does get in the positions. But it's like when he has time to think, it doesn't work out. The amount of chances like he's missed is insane for a forward.
Saying now, though, you're talking like in excess of 20 chances per game now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get 20 chances a season ago without scoring 3 of them.
Do you know what? Where I see it is when Bobby went, that link man that held the ball up, and even in the penalty area, you're so clever. You'd throw one way and just tap it off, and you're tapping it in. Yeah. We're shooting from distance or whatever, or he's dropping to Nunes, who I love his commitment and passion and all the things I've said that we expect. He does do that. Mm-hmm. Exceptional at that. And with you on it, something, it's not dropping from when he gets in the box to finish certain goals. But that link man, Bobby Firmino, brought us a title. He brought us the Champions League. And I'm not just saying one, but he was so clever. He held the ball up. He'd back into to us as centre half, and he'd bump and he got it, and he's holding it. Now people have got the encouragement to flood forward and he's tapping it, and they're having easy goals. That link man who holds it up, I think, has been sorely missed. That's only my opinion. I really do think that ilk of player is what Liverpool I've always had and always want.
Well, I mean, I think Klopp tried it with Gakpo a few times, and I actually like Gakpo, but I mean, he's played how many different positions this season? You know, he hasn't nailed down a position, and we all know with footballers, you need confidence and you need game time, and if you're in out of the side, you can't get continuity.
No.
You know, I like how he plays, but I don't think we'll ever have another Bobby Firmino. You know, he just did what he did. He was, you know, he was Bobby Dazzler. Like, and I do think we missed that bit. I want to get back to you, Mark, because you know, before you came to Liverpool, you were Player of the Season for Derby twice. You know, and then you get the big call because I know Souness was looking at you before you moved to Liverpool,
Rangers, yeah.
and he wanted you, and then and it's still really weird to say 2.2 million was a record for a defender at that time, and you just think
Worldwide.
2.2 million, and then you look at Virgil van Dijk 75 million.
Yeah,
Wouldn't get Virgil's big toe now.
So I mean, when Liverpool come calling, I mean, was it 100% like, yeah, I'm doing this?
Oh, listen. My dad, God rest his soul, passed away last October. Was a big red. Loved everything through it. He always said, "Listen, you keep trying now. That's where you want to be. You've got to go and see that. You've got to go and be involved in that at that club." And you always strive, and I always set myself big targets. You know, once you think sometimes it's impossible, but then when you get there, like to play for England or to play for the 21s, and then an England cap, and then you strive for that, and you keep setting your new goals so that you keep improving, don't you? But Liverpool came the year before, but I was a loyal sort of person. I've only ever asked to go or not got on, and that was at Southampton when he promised me a contract, and I broke my leg in the semi-final. And then he said to me, it's not business-like for me to give you a contract now. And I went, oh, yeah, all right. And then when I got back, playing for England, and I went up to his door and he went, I've got to prove yourself to me again. And I went, really? You just wait there. So one and only time I've ever thought about writing a transfer and doing everything. So at Derby, Arthur Cox wanted me to stay, and I loved Arthur Cox. I still do. He was a fantastic man. He said to me, listen, we'll do this contract, but we need you for one more season. What do you think? And I went, well, if you're not going to let me go, then I stay, and I'd stand by your decision. So he said, oh, fantastic. So they looked after me, and they did, and then the following season, apparently the deal was done with Liverpool anyway. And they came on to me and went straight up, and there was 5 or 6 other clubs, 3 of them in Europe, and I went, that's what I've been striving for. That's where I want to be. And I go up, and then we sit down with the agent, Kevin Mason, and we sit down, and he goes, right. He says to Kevin, he said, right, I've got something to say to Mark. Is that all right? He said, yeah, but all the financial to me. I went, hey, look, I laughed. So anyway, so this goes, he said, righty, in this hand, I've got a piece of paper with what I'm going to offer you for your weekly rent. And yeah. And do you want to see it? And I said, yeah, Kevin the raging. And no, you've got to talk to me about that. I said, yeah. So you've got something there. He said, it's a very good offer. So if I show you and you like it, will you sign? And I went, yes. Simple as that. The agent's gone, no, you can't do that. I said, well, I can do that. It's me signing. So that's the end of it. And then he said, well, let me just do all the signing on fees and the bonuses. And I said, well, you can do that. I said, Mr. Sims, is it okay if he does that? He said, absolutely. So you ready to look? And he did that. And I went, yeah. He pulled the contract out. 5 minutes it would take him. There we go. 5 minutes. There was no.
Your heart was already set.
I didn't want to. There was no haggling to be done. Really, they'd given me something that I think was it. One more I know. So it was 6 times what I was earning at Derby. That's how it moved on the wages level 6 times. So I went, my eyes really popped out, and then I went, oh, fantastic. You're going to pay me that for kicking the ball around the football field and give absolutely, let me sign straight there. But that's what it was. It was not about the haggling and these fees, them fees, the other fee, whatever. I wanted to play football, and I'd set my heart on wanting to play for Liverpool. So, because all the
And it made your dad happy as well.
Oh, and my mother.
And
My mother wanted me to play for the best team in the country, and that's what it was. And you set your goal to play for the best team, and then you achieve it. Yeah. And you go, what more do you want? What more do you want? And then obviously things chop and change, and things happen. But and like they come to a part at Liverpool where they there was fallout with Roy Evans, not so much me, with Julian Dix, and he said, well, we're getting some other centre halves in, and you're going to you want to play as many games, and I went, we'll see about that. And you could ask Roy. He said, so got all these clubs here, and they're all off your big bets of money, and I went, no, I'm not going. I'm just not going. I said, I've never been anywhere where I have not been respected by the supporters or left my mark for fun football, and they sent me to be the first place. This is where I always wanted to come. This is what I wanted to do. And then following that following season, I got back in. They gave me a new contract. I won Player of the Year. Well, there you are. That's what it's all about. If you give in, it's too easy to give in and keep moving with it. No. And hopefully, and I've never had any bad things said about me from the supporters. Hopefully, I did what I set out to do and prove to them that I wanted to be here and wanted to be part of what the football club was all about. Yeah, we have bad games. Yeah, we have bad times. But at the end of the day, it doesn't stop me being on the field and giving everything that I got. And I enjoyed every single moment.
Well, I mean, coming into a team, where Alan Hansen was just, an incredible defender. And, he was coming, obviously, to the end of his career. Those were big boots to fill, and you did it. A lot of players would have just been like, I'm not coming in after, Hansen, and you did it. And I've seen you live at Anfield, and you did. You gave it all, blood, sweat, and tears.
I was a little bit different to Alan. I was more, I would say, competitive.
Yeah, hard to agree with that.
Yeah. I like the other side of the game as well, whereas Alan didn't really do that. But I hadn't met Alan Hansen for only the odd passing thing. But then there was an end of season. There was a big dinner, and I sat with Alan. Wow, it was like for me. When I was playing at Southampton and Derby Penny and Hundred. What a man! And I sat down with him. We had one of the best chats ever. It was funny. We're telling about old stories, what was going on, this and that and the other. And I looked, he was one of those players that he's a little bit old. I looked up to say, yeah, I look at that. And I take lots of what he does in a game and try and add that to my game. That's what I did. I never saw it as a competition or boots to fill. I just want to see if I could get to the same levels, to be respected in the same way as what Alan played in the great side of in the 80s. We're talking about that was the only side at Southampton that couldn't be was Liverpool. They were absolutely so special. And I think you could have, if I'd have gone and played in that side at that time, I'd have won loads more, because I think that's how good that side was. You could take odd individuals out and put other people in, and you'd win loads. But that was the side. And like I said before, I used to look up. I still do. For me to sit down and talk and have discussions with Alan Hansen at Anfield and have a laugh and have a beer, for me was brilliant. And I have to say that with sort of so I actually admired him with what he did in the game and how he spoke and how he played the game.
Yeah, he's just my mates have had this conversation about who's the better defender, Hansen or Van Dijk, and they're just too different. I mean, one plays the modern game, one was the 70s, 80s. Like it's apples and oranges.
You know what I'd say here, and this is how I see it. Very simple. Hansen was one of many at that time. You can go through the whole lot. And when I was playing for England, you're talking about, there was Terry Butcher and myself, Des Walker and Tony Adams, Martin Keown, Bowles, and then there was Pallister and Bruce, and there was Dave Watson. Now, there's 10 English centre halves were abundance, right?
Yeah.
In my era and Alan's era, and I'm talking about unbelievable defenders. He stood out.
Mm-hmm.
In today's game, name me 10 like I've just done of British players, centre halves. If he can't, tell me 10 real top centre halves. Virgil stands out because he's one of the very few that are of that standard. Alan stood out in a time when centre halves were in abundance. To do that is harder than to be one of a few. So in my book, when I look at it and I look about what Alan Hansen won, how he went about things, the football he played in a different time, it was more physical and whatever than it is today. For me, there's only one, and then maybe I'm biased because because I looked up to him and respected him, but it would be Alan Hansen. But that's only my interpretation of what you just talked about.
And you know, playing for Liverpool, obviously an amazing, you know, set the standards high, but getting the captaincy, another notch on you. And I'm sure, is it Uncle Jack who's the blue nose? I'm sure he's like,
oh, listen, I would love to have been in his house when that was announced. I tell you what, everything could have gone pear-shaped. Let me tell you a story about, and I told my Uncle Jack this, and this is a true story. I went to watch, and I was lucky enough to go into a box at Goodison, and it was when Everton were playing Sunderland. It was after I finished, and Howard Kendall was there. So I'm in there, and he comes out, and I went, "All right, Howard," and he went, "What the are you doing here?" I went, "Nice to see you as well, Howard." He went, "Wait there. He's going to get a drink. I'm coming back." So he went off and he came back. And he's standing there. He went, "Can I ask you a question, Martin?" And I went, "Of course you can. Yeah, whatever you want, Howard." And he went, "Why didn't you come and talk to me?" And I went, "When?" He went, "When you signed for Liverpool." And I went, "I didn't know." And he went, "Effing knew it. I effing knew it. They didn't tell you, did they?" And I went,
so
no.
They were one of the clubs that come in.
And they went, and I went, "No, they didn't tell me." He said, "Another question, Wrighty. Would you come and talk to me?" I said, "Out of respect for you, Howard, for leading the game, 100%. I don't think I'd have signed because my heart was set on where I wanted to be, and that was always going to be the way." And he went, Wrighty, if you'd have come and talked to me, you'd never have got out of the office. We'd have a few drinks, and you'd have signed whatever on that table." And I went, "You think?" And he went, "No, I know, Wrighty. We'd have had a right drink and everything, but you would have signed that contract." So I went, "Oh Christ, good job I never came in to see you then." But that was Howard. But he was wanting me there. He said he offered more for Dean Saunders and myself than what Liverpool paid. And he said, and Dean went to speak to him.
So is that your agent's not telling you?
I think it would probably been the club. I think it'd probably been Derby County. Listen, they've said to the agent, "Don't you be telling him anything. He's going there. That's where he wants to go." Arthur Cox looking after me, I suppose, but not giving any other options. Because, listen, there were no other options. I mean, there was European sides, you know, Roma, and all kind of, no, I'm English through and through. I wanted to pull on a red shirt, and I wanted to walk down them steps with touch the badge and come up the other end and play in front of it. I had to do. That's what I wanted. And how lucky. I'm not saying I didn't work hard, because I know I did. But how lucky to be one of the few that have done that and walked out first as a captain to what that atmosphere is. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it.
Insane.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, because I'm obviously a big Red and everything, so I watched Mark's career closely, and even after his Liverpool days when he went to manage at Southport, I used to go down and watch a few Southport games.
I didn't know that. He told me the other day.
Yeah, just because
stalker.
Because he gave it all for the club, so I just went, "Tell me, go to supporters, boys."
We had a good little side there, huh? Yeah.
Well, how do you two know each other?
Oh, great.
Apart from the stalking part.
If anything, he stalked me at first.
Do you know what? Do you know what it was? I was my sister lives in Boston, in America, and my brother-in-law is so into music, it's untrue, Bob. And I've gone across there for a couple of 3 weeks just to go and see my sister and everyone, and the nephews and the niece. And he said, we got a concert. And I went, what? He went, it's from Liverpool. China prices are over here. Should we go? And I went, yeah, go on then. Yeah, brilliant. So off we go to town. We have a few beers and everything, and we go into the concert. And I thought, this is like we're sitting on these posh tables at the front with that food. And weird how was going. I went, great. So anyway, we had some boys on the table. They were a little bit rowdy and whatever, and they're talking to everybody in the crowd and everything. And
I said on stage, because the Liverpool owners are from Boston. So I said something like, and thanks to the owners for our club and everything. And his brother-in-law gets up and goes, we've got a legend here, or we got Mark here. And I went like, no.
And then he went like that. So the lights were on him and he went, it's Wrighty. He went, come here. The concert's going on. So he said, no. I went, no, you go. He went, come here. So I walked round, came up the stairs. He went, oh, lovely to see you. He went, give me a kiss. And he went, yes, I will. Should we go for a drink afterwards? We went, we're on. So from that day, yeah. And then we did go out afterwards, and we did have a laugh, and we had a couple.
He had to put me in a cab home.
We put him in a cab home, yeah. We'd had too many, we did. Yeah, brilliant.
Great stories. I love that. Goes from stalking to best mates. Yeah. now I don't know who's stalking who.
Oh, brilliant, eh?
But I mean, you lifted, a trophy for Liverpool, and I also want to ask you, because I didn't even know about this until recently, about the medals that you were given, the losers' medals.
Okay, it's the long medals, yes.
Yeah. How does that even happen? And then you have to exchange it with the Sunderland players.
I think what it was, the winners' medals were in a blue case, and the winners' medals were in a blue case, and the losers was in the red case. Obviously, it's naturally thought Red's more dominant. Red's a winner for some reason, but they gave us They gave us the wrong ones, and then we had to go around and collect them all in and go into their dressing room, and they gave us them, and they give us it here. Oh yeah,
have your loser medals back.
yeah. Do you know what? But it was funny that game, because obviously with Big Jan on the side that we had, when they went off at half time, we were just looking at them like that, and they said, "Look at them. We'd kept the ball so well." And they went, "The neck of them," and we all went, "Yeah," and they were really sweating. I mean, we're sweating, but we're still like that, because our game was about keeping the ball and keeping possession and moving it around. Whereas they're sometimes just get it, fight. And then they're chasing us.
Yeah.
And they said, just keep the ball second half, first 10 minutes and everything. He said, they'll be out on their feet. Mm-hmm. And it actually turned out to be, that way, not being disrespectful to Sunderland, but it was. Then it became you have to keep ball session, and it's sort of, there was no way anyone was coming back into that game, and we weren't going to lose that game. But it was funny about the medals, yeah, switching them after the game into the changing room. He was fine, you have that lonely one.
Michael Thomas scored a cracking goal. Like,
didn't he?
We always talk about Rushy.
Against us.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about that one. That still hurts. That still hurts. But no, I mean, McManaman that day, played a blinder. And I just think Michael Thomas doing that, on the half turn and welling it in the back of the net was just brilliant. But yeah,
it was.
But I mean, as supporters, like Eddie will tell you, just going to Wembley, going to a final, is exhilarating. Well, especially when you win. But I can't imagine holding that trophy, being the captain of the club and getting to hold, put the trophy up for the supporters. And you got to do that. And I'm, obviously as a supporter, a bit jealous because I'd love to hold that trophy, but you got to do it, and you're part of Liverpool folklore.
Well, I am. You know why? Because I swore when I got it. They never show me on the TV now. Lifting the cup and everything. Really. I used to be on it before because listen.
What'd you say? Go on. What'd you say?
Can we swear on this and tell you what it says?
Of course you can swear.
So when I go up the steps, all I can think of trophy. And it was the Duchess of Kent. Yeah. Beautiful lady. And you know what? And I'm not lost for words really many times. But when you have to meet them before the game, and they come on, you have to introduce yourself, and they had everything to them like that, and you have to go, you scroll around, go, Mark, isn't it great that a young kid from the first the same very cool who's gone well himself, and now you're here, captain this side at Wembley. And I looked at her thinking, well, actually, she's done well, they must do a royal family, a good on. And I went, Robbie Jones, and I said someone else, and she went, and is that water tower at the top of the road you used to live in the honey farm, just around the corner? And I went, it is, man. Wow, it is. So I went, really? So when I've gone up the steps, I'm looking at the trophy, that's what I want. I'm looking at her, and she's really smiling and going, she went, I wanted you to do one of those things. And all I'm thinking about is that trophy. And I turned around and I went, I'm never so sorry for what I'm about to say, man. What are you going to say, Mark? Really, what are you going to say, Mark? And then the posh voice. I've turned around to all the afterwards and I went, you fucking beauty. I so meant it. I meant, you fucking beauty. Well, after it, I thought, then I've gone a little bit of reality hit, and I went, oh, good God, you're on TV. There are beams of millions, and I've got all these stupid Sorry. And I went, sorry, man. You know what she said? Were you referring to me, Mark?
Oh, no.
I went, I was in fact. But after that, years later, when we went back to the club, not years later, when we go back to the club, David Moles, came up and he said, listen, Mighty, about I said, what about you? I knew way down, like you swearing. And I went, so I'd like you to write an apology and you could put it out. And I went, yeah, I meant it. And he went, I know you meant it. I know, I love it. But there's lots of people out there that don't. So I went, they're either Evertonians, Manx, or Sunderland.
Yeah, no Liverpool complaint.
No Liverpool supporters complain. So why have I got? And he said, well, can we do this to apologise? I said, I'll tell you what I'll agree to. I'm sorry if I offended anyone, but the words I used, I meant. But I do apologise but I had to say, because I'm not retracting what was in there and whatever. If I've offended someone, sorry about that. But listen, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's your passion.
That's the passion. That's where I was. And so he agreed to that and pushed it all out to the people who were written in complaints.
So TV probably won't play it now that he plays because you can see you actually.
Oh, you can. If you watch it, you can see me going. It's great. So it's not on now. I thought it was because I was ginger once upon a time that I was being kept out, but it's not. It's because I swore.
So what are some of your best moments, Mark? Playing for Liverpool, not just
signing for Liverpool and coming down the steps for the first time as a captain and touching that badge. You can't. Well, the Liverpool supporters can understand how. Make sure the hairs on your back of your arm stand up, because still to this day, that's a massive moment. Every time I pull do you know what? And it may sound like just because I'm saying it, but I counted myself fortunate and did everything I could to play football. So every time I played, I loved it. Tried to give the best I could every single time. But if you're talking about individual moments, I suppose it is signing for Liverpool, because I'd set my targets. I want that. And it was near impossible to replace the players that they had in the side, wasn't it? Yeah. And then for them retiring and me at the top of my game and just come back to the World Cup, all of a sudden, boom, all fell into place, and they took me, and that's a big moment. Oh God, that's a personal moment for me. But I think which a lot of Liverpool supporters don't don't like is, but when you get picked or chosen to play for your country, it's a massive thing. No matter what people say, massive, massive. They're saying to you as an individual that you're the best in the whole of the country to play in that position. When you walk onto a street in England, of all the thousands and millions that they are, you are the best. Well, that's a fantastic feeling, of achievement to say, I'm putting on a. In England, I'm English through and through. St George's Cross run through me veins. I'm sorry to say, but it does. The red and white. But to play for your country is fantastic. And obviously the World Cup, when we got so close and we got knocked out on penalty, that's a highlight because we were so close to it. Winning the FA Cup for Liverpool, of course. But I generally tend to say that it's. I sometimes I don't like so much talking about me as a player. You'll never hear me big me up myself. I just don't do it, and I won't do it because it's not something you want to do. But I think for being in football, for all the ups and downs, to be involved in football, get paid, keep fit, have the best of everything, see the world. That is the highlight. I've seen there everywhere I wanted to see, and that's down to football. And I thank it every day. And there's nothing I wouldn't do to try and help promote football and push it forward in whichever way it needs to be pushed.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Can I ask a question? Can I ask Mark one? Who's the best manager you've ever played with?
Oh, that's a good one.
Do you know what? As picking sides, and Laurie McMenemy was really good about putting a side together. Because we finished second to Liverpool in the league by 3 points, lost it. Little Southampton, lost in the semi-final of the FA Cup 1-0, Adrian Heath goal. We were a very, very good side. So putting a side together was very good him. If you're talking about the best coach, I love playing for England under Bobby Robson and Don Howe. But the best coach, and I played under short time, was Terry Venables, without a shadow of a doubt, as a coach.
I had a feeling you'd say that, Sam.
Unbelievable. You can't. I can't explain how good he was. It was all different techniques all the time, but you came off and you was knackered, but you enjoyed it. But your brain's tired as well because he's throwing so much information about how you can improve as a player and what you can do. So as a best coach, probably him. And I mean, I liked all the managers I played under. I mean, I had a great time at Southampton under Laurie Mack. Loved Arthur Cox, I said, he was a man manager just because he's all about passion and grit and, look at you, you're earning that money. What are you going to moan about and everything? There's people I don't know that aren't, you keep. So that was it. I think at the time, and I'm not being overly critical, but I think the change that Liverpool had at the time when I came here with the Souness and then changing so many players and then Roy having to take over, and probably not being, Graham was too strong. Roy was probably not as strong. And so it was a mixture and people were doing silly things. And I always think that we had had a stronger manager at that moment in time. There's no doubt that at that time when we were playing, we had an awful lot of ability. People like Stan Collymore and Robbie Fowler as a duo up front. Unbelievable. Stan will look back on his career and he must be kicking himself and saying, listen, gee, have I underachieved? Because that boy had a lot.
Oh, God, he was brilliant.
Them two together, you couldn't ask for it any more. Then you had Steve McManaman, on what? Geez, attacking options. And then we were getting stronger. Like I said, 1 year. I mean, Alex Ferguson said that we were the best. And we finished, I think we finished fourth on goal difference. We were joint second on points. But that year, we should have won the league. We were a very, very good side. And that was disappointing, for it to fall away like it did, for us, or lose certain games and not just have that little bit of. Don't forget, we had the Spice Boys, didn't we? We had the Spice Boys at the time. They loved partying more than most. And I think sometimes maybe that let us down a little bit. Maybe if we were at it more and listen, given a year out of a season out of your life to say stay and do the right things, could we have won that? I still think we could have I really still think we could have if we'd have been more disciplined at that moment in time. Yeah. So there's loads of things. It's like the Paris Saint-Germain game. That's another game when we lost 3-0 away from home, and then we won 2-0 at home, and I was lucky enough to score a header. And that game was electric because we should have won that game, but we were, this close again, but not quite. Yeah. On it, if we lose 1-0 away from home, we're through. But if we lose 3, it was not right for a Liverpool side to lose 3-0 away from home. Not the way we did, no.
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of the Liverpool games, it's tiny margins, isn't it? This season, the season where we're a point behind City, the other season where we're a point behind City. So, I remember, the Mane, it looked like it was going in, and it was a millimetre. We would have beaten them. So it's just, in your career, I always like to ask, like, you've achieved your goal of playing for Liverpool, you've hosted a trophy. Is there anything where you've just gone, I just wish we would have done that?
The only thing in a big moment was for me was just go back to that was just thought of that. What things stand out? The signing for Oxford United when people said I wouldn't make it, not having a trial anywhere, and then signing that day and going in and seeing my mum's face. I could still see her face beaming. No, give all the money to them. I said, no, Mum, you can have all this. But even my 20s, that day was they're special days because you look at your mum who's given up everything to do that.
Yeah, that's the door opening. That is it. He's knocking on the door. He's trying to get through, and then all of a sudden you've got your first contract in front of you. You've been given that chance. That must have been insane.
Do you know what? That's a special moment because it's your mum who had that belief in you. Mm-hmm. Probably more of a belief than you actually had yourself. Sadly, even though we were counselling with fighters and everything, you're thinking, all my mates are getting signed here, there, and everywhere, and I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I've got anywhere. I'll carry on playing, doing it, and then you don't get anything, and all of a sudden, orange juice comes over here, and the next thing, no, we're carrying on, we're doing this. You're going to get there. So to see my mum's face, and I can still see it today, was incredible. Was incredible just to see that, and then everything I've ever done. It's like, Mum, what do you want? You can have all the caps. You can have all the. You have the lot. Yeah, it's what she got me. Yeah, and there's nothing that I would keep away from her. That's brilliant. Yeah, it's not to say I'm a mum's boy because that's not what I'm saying. Otherwise, we'd have to get physical again and then get out there and get amongst it again. But you have to put it down to someone. Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it was. And sorry, I've jumped on from the question. What was your question? Is there any regrets? Do you know what the only regret I have is not getting 50 caps for England. That's what were you on for? 45. Yeah. But I missed the 86 World Cup with a broken leg. That's the number of games that I got it. Missed Euro 96. Injured my knee in the last warm-up game. Otherwise, I'm playing for Terry Venables. So that's I should have probably had 70 caps, 75 caps, and then you go, that's where you are. And I'm not saying that what I achieved for 45 caps isn't good because it's amazing. But if there is one that wrangles me, it's not hitting the 50 because that's a good number to be in that 50 cap. Mark, and that's where I'd like to have been.
Mark, 45's outstanding. But just before we spoke to you, Taz, and you're a Liverpool supporter as well. I always assumed that Fowler had someone was 50 caps, something like that. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to Mark downstairs before, and he turns his hand, goes, not that many, not that many. You should have achieved more than what he did achieve. I went, how many? 26 caps, that's all he got.
Really?
A lot of that would have been subs as well, And
a lot of that is subs, going on. It's not really surprised me. I was thinking, God.
Yeah, that surprises me.
Well, and the thing being, okay, we're all up against good players. I rattled off 10
And
it was usually Terry, Des, and myself.
Mhm.
Tony Adams, if I'm fit or one of us was fit, Tony Adams wasn't getting in all the time.
Yeah.
It was only after, if one of us was injured, he was getting in, that's a big thing to keep Tony out of a side like that, because he's a good captain, great leader, and playing for Arsenal, who were a great side. But now, if you talk about centre half, that was that many players that you're competing against, which is not about today. Robbie Fowler was up against, was it Shearer, Teddy Sheringham, Taron Anderson was playing up there. But if you're asking me, when I looked at all that, and I can say again, hand on my heart, of all the people I've played with and all the people
he underachieved. Should have got more far.
he should have been, for whatever reason, maybe he didn't underachieve. Maybe the managers didn't pick him for whatever reason. But if you're asking me, who is the best finisher that I've ever played with, or ever seen, or ever trained with, without shadow of a doubt,
Mhm.
without shadow. So should he have had more caps? Absolutely. He should have been a worldwide, playing for England. That's where you're judged, isn't it? And I think he scored in 26 games. I think I see before, was it 7 goals, 6 goals? Not a lot, is it?
No,
Not for someone who's unbelievable in front of goal. And he's a good friend of mine, and I love him dearly. And I've always said to him, should have got more. Why not? What was it? Was it to do with the management? I don't know.
It might have been that grass celebration against Everton.
yeah.
I think I heard loads. We saw that when we go, what are you doing, Robbie? For God's sake.
He did that because he said that he did that. And he scored the goal and went, he never did it before people had already accused him of that. So he was basically doing that to him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like he did that and then he got named for doing that.
I thought he was just checking the groundsman's work.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. Hey, sampling the ground. Yeah, exactly. That's going
That's
well.
good. Yeah, lovely that is. No, it was cheeky, but probably one of the best goal celebrations I've ever seen.
Fantastic.
Just out there. That and Suarez diving in front of Moyes. Just yeah, I'll tell you what, fellas, this has been absolutely amazing. And I said to Eddie last time that we talked, an hour goes by so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you talk about this football club, it's all in our hearts. But I mean, for you, Mark, you've played for my boyhood team, and I can't say enough. Thank you for doing that. You're embedded in my, my
NA.
growing up.
Do you know what? You know what does it? It was and I don't know if any other players say it, but when you set your sights on a goal and when you want something you want to achieve, and then you get there, then it becomes a reality. It's an honour. I don't know how many players see it as an honour to play for this great football club, or they just think it's Liverpool and everything. It's the best. I get a great wage or whatever it may be. And sometimes I suppose words are cheap, and you've got to mean it. And people have got to show what's in their heart to say that what I'm saying is true. But it was an honour. It's an honour for me now to go into the Liverpool Football Club. And my girlfriend Kelly says to me, she said, "What was it?" I said, "I'm going to work now." And she goes, "Work?"
Yeah, you can't go that work.
Work. She goes, "You go into Liverpool Football Club, you go into some of the lounges and you speak, and you sign some autographs and you have some photographs taken. You go and sit with the lads, have a meal, have a few glasses of wine or beers or whatever, and then sit next to the director's box and watch the game, and they pay you. Work? That ain't work." I said, "Kel, I've got to stop you there, darling. It took a lot of hard work to get to this position." And she went, "You beat me." Yeah, she couldn't come back on it. Yeah. But it is, that's, you put the time in, it comes back. And like I said, it was a privilege for me to play for a club that is steeped in so much history. And I remember the first pre-season tour we went on, right? Over to Norway we go. And Jan Mulvey goes, so we're in this thing, we go for a few drinks there, because pre-season was not only about training, it was about training that arm as well. I promise to stay having a few drinks. I've gone, we're doing training. They said, yeah, come on, we're out. So anyway, off we go. We're in this place, right? And he says, follow me upstairs, right, to bring you in. He said, now you do know, I'm from Jerry, I went, yeah. You don't need it for much, but we got these stairs, and there's these big wooden, like you're in one of like an Austrian ski house thing, but it's like them wooden shutters. And he goes, Righty, now you got to come and meet the crowd. Well, what crowd? Out here, there's always a crowd. He opened these shutters, began. There were the streets. There was no space. There was thousands upon thousands
of Norwegian fans,
Liverpool fans, all out there. Big Jan goes out. Yeah. Shh. They all go quiet. I've gone, what the hell's that in here? And he goes, everybody, I'm bringing our new signing out now. We want to say hello to you. I go out. I know. And he goes, shh. Got something to say. What I do? And I went like, I said, what the fuck are you doing, Big Jan? So the next thing he turned around and he went, sing the song, see what happens. Like that. And I went, all right, everybody, I've got something for you. And feel free to join in a minute. So it was like we've done a little bit about it. And I went, and I had to go. When you walk through us, the whole place erupted, the scarves were swinging. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. And that was my introduction to Liverpool. And I went, see, worldwide, that's what it means to people. And I could not believe. I wish I'd, and you could have filmed it, because that was another special moment. You go, oh,
magic,
God.
yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
It was magic. And I said, I've got to leave you, I'm just leaving you on one. That's it. Shut the door. And I go. Don't know if they wanted a second.
That's what Liverpool Football Club means to us. It does around the world, wherever I've been on holiday. Well, there's always a Scouser there. Everywhere you go around the world, you'll find a Scouser, because there is from a mile off. But it's just, especially coming over to the States. When I did, I've been over there now 36 years, and it's just grown and grown. The Liverpool.
I go to bingo every time I'm over there. Carragher's, I don't know if Carragher's got it or it's just called Carragher's in New York. Like the supporters club. Yeah. I always seek out the Liverpool supporter bars, whichever country I'm in around the world. I always do.
Yeah. And they're always packed, and it's just it's just great to see this great football club, still be where they're at, and I'll leave it on this, like even though we wanted a fairy tale ending, we've had nearly 8.5, 9 years with Jurgen Klopp, and it's been amazing. I've watched some of the most amazing football.
Yes.
And I've watched Paisley. I've watched, the Paisley teams, Dalglish teams. I've been there at Anfield, but just watching the joy of Jurgen's teams, it's been.
I think a lot of it is what he put into it, and it came out in the players, didn't it? Yeah.
I want to leave, end it with. What's your both you and Eddie on Klopp?
Oh God! Me, just a complete legends. There's a few of them. Obviously, there's Shankly. Paisley actually won more trophies and everything. But Shankly just changed the whole culture. Do you know what it is for me? It's the people that get into the mindset of the city and the people of the city. And, Roy and that didn't, or whatever, for some reason, he wasn't embraced by the city or anything like that. Not Roy Evans, sorry, Roy Hodgson. But But when you look at Jurgen, he'll be in the same category as Kenny, Paisley, Shankly. You know, he's up there in like the top five. I know that Evans did great, and you know, little Joe had a good time. But the five legends will probably be Shankly, Paisley, Kenny, Jurgen, and Paisley, Paisley. Yeah, that's it for me.
I think for me, when I look at, I would have loved the fairy tale ending for him because I think he deserves it. But I know he deserves it, and it would have been great for it to sort of wilt away right at the death. So what's going on is hard for him. It's hard for him to actually watch why certain players aren't doing it on the football field, and for such a passionate man, I think that's hard for him to take, and I think that's maybe why there's a little fallout with Mo and whatever. Hey, by the way, you know, and there's lots of reasons that we've all seen in recent weeks about the way they react to certain situations. I don't need to say it on here. We all know, and there's certain things that players are team players, and that's the end of it. You don't veer from that. It's not about you as an individual. It's about this football club and about the supporters and about the love that we all embrace. And if it's about any individual and they go off and then they do certain things, no, it's not good. I mean, I'm not saying that the players aren't great players because they are. But the biggest thing that I can say about Jurgen, and I said it earlier on in the program, is that the biggest accolade is that I would love to have played for him. Love to have played for him because he's up there, he's passionate, he's aggressive, you know, he's soft, and he'll give you a kiss and he gives you a cuddle when it was everything about him. And the side then emulate what he gives off. And maybe in recent weeks, because he hasn't, I don't know what the reason is that he's leaving, whether he's tired, and sometimes he looks tired. That spark, that little bit, hasn't really been there. And that's sad for me to see that in such a great manager. And there must be a reason that'll come out in time as for why he really is going. Okay, I'll get that he's tired, but it takes a lot out of it, doesn't it? But for me to have been able to play under someone like him would have been up there because I can associate with that. Hey, by the way, you tell me if I'm shit. I'd rather have it, and I say I'll prove you wrong now because next week it won't happen again. You want that. You want the honesty. You don't want to be mollycoddle in that. And I think Jurgen has got every aspect of that side of it, and the modern day game. So he's like a genius in his time, in this era. So very sad that he's going. Very sad that he's going. But I half understand it because he does look a bit tired and a little bit affected, maybe I'd say, by something that's going on or whatever's going on in his life or his mind, or he is tired. But as a man, forget that football. You'd like him as your mate, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because he's give us another dinger. give us another. We're going out for a drink. Yeah, you would. You would. So that side of it associates with what we are as men. Yeah, give us a bite. We'll celebrate at the right time, and then we'll train, and then we'll do things at the right time. Yeah. Love the man. Disappointed that he's going, and very hard to replace him. Very hard.
But we are Liverpool Football Club.
But we are, and we seem to get over it every single time, you know.
Yeah.
Every time we bounce on again and win. So long may it continue as well. So I think the new man's got a hard job, but I think he's looking forward to it.
I mean, well, we won't know, will we, what slots. I mean, people always say, how do you replace that act? How do you replace that? Well, as you say, Liverpool's done it time and time again. Let's hope this man's the right man.
Well, Jurgen's leaving this club better than what he was when he came in. You know, he's left, the foundations are there. So, you know, I just think we've got to embrace the new manager as we will, and we go from there. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to Klopp's last game, that I'm sure there'll be some tears going on just because he's given so much to us. And like you said, Eddie, it's not just about the football club. It's about the people in the city. He's embraced us like the way we want. And I can't thank him enough for that.
No.
And I can't thank you two enough for coming on and, doing my 4-year anniversary. I can't believe it's...
By the way.
Yeah.
I can't believe people have listened to my voice for 4 years. Even my wife is like, I barely listen to your voice.
There's a lot of Liverpool
For
supporters.
nearly 18. Hey?
Said there's a lot of Liverpool supporters out there.
Yeah, there is. Hopefully I'm reaching, most of them. But again, it's been an absolute honour and pleasure to have you both on.